Hello, listeners. Real quick at the top, we're still on a short break from our Star Wars story, Empire's Edge, but these next couple of episodes are going to be something extra special. These are our first games set in the Final Fantasy VII universe, using a unique homebrewed system with our very first guest GM. We recorded these intermittently last year while we were still configuring our audio setup, so thank you for bearing with us with any audio quality issues. We'll be back real soon with our fearless fringers of the Outer Rim, Elo and Bigax. So for now, thank you for listening, and please enjoy Respect the Crit's Final Fantasy VII story, Memories of Midgar. Hello and welcome to Respect the Crit. I'm Ian Bryce Duncan. I'm your host, and typically I'm your game master, but not today. Today, I am going to be a player at the table, and I am joined by some, I would call them friends. They might call me something different, but I would call them friends. Firstly, Jamie Lee-Bonés. Jamie.
Hello, I am Jamie Bonés. Usually I would be playing Elo, the modified medical droid, but today I am playing Jewel Stone, dedicated martial artist. Hiya!
Excellent. And also, Alex Herrera. Alex, do you have another name, like a middle name that we can... No, we've got like three names going on.
I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to use that one. That's only for legal documents. So. Hi, I'm Alex. Today I'll be playing Artanis, the ex-Shinra security officer turned bodyguard.
And I am going to be playing Ruby Weapon, the Honeybee Inn drag performer. That should give you a few clues as to what we're doing. And the generous and talented person who is going to be taking us through this world and taking us through this game is the one, the only, comment ça va, oui, Xavier Trudeau-Deschênes.
Bonjour. Hi. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. Big fan.
Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for doing this. This is so exciting. You are our first guest GM.
Yeah.
This is very exciting. I'm honored.
It's like a radio show. He's like, first time, long time.
Right.
I want to thank you for indulging me too, because this little project of mine has been like a long time coming, about since March. I guess the cat's out of the bag, but we're going to be running a homebrew based on the D20 Modern system that was published by Wizards in the year 2002 / Final Fantasy VII game.
Woo! Woo!
So back when the remake came this year, I got very excited and had very little time to play it. So I just wanted more FF7 in my life. So I started fiddling with mechanics and Google spreadsheets for materia menus, and with a friend of mine, my good friend Duff. He helped me build most of the Final Fantasy mechanics that we're going to be playing.
We are really excited to do some of this Final Fantasy VII stuff. I don't think we can credit who put some of this homebrew stuff together, but with some of the rules, but you've taken it and made it your own. So this is something that you have.
I wish I could credit the person that made the homebrew system. I researched hard. My friend sent me the Google Drive for it. I found it on an old Reddit thread. It was posted by someone who didn't take credit for it, who just referred to it. I could not find the author. If anyone listening to this can, please hit us up and help us give credit where it's due, because I didn't make the homebrew for the D20 Modern system.
Is this the first system that you've sort of taken and co-opted and turned into something else that you've run, or is this a thing that you love to do?
It's a thing I love to do. I haven't done it outside of 5th edition mostly. Most of the Frankenstein games I've made was in 5th edition. And my favorite, of course, I made a whole arc that was a Dark Souls mechanically it was Dark Souls set in a sci-fi environment, and it was very fun to make. And now this is my Final Fantasy VII one.
Yeah.
I'm afraid. I'm very afraid. Just before we get into it, too, I want to guarantee this is going to be a Sephiroth-free experience. I promise there will be no Sephiroth in my game. Tired of this guy.
Let's stop talking about it. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, everyone. Let's mosey. The setting sun shines a bright orange light on the glass towers of the upper plates in the city of Midgar, the world's largest metropolis and the home of the most advanced technology on the planet. It's a warm, comfortable evening for its citizens who live up above. The Sector 6 plate is beginning its construction, and this Sector 7 is just as high and permanently attached as it's always been. However, our story takes us 300 meters below, in the smog-filled air of the slums. Across a maze of roads dug out through heaps of junk and under the neon lights of Sector 6's own wall market. Even with the massive plate above, it's easy to tell when day transitions into night. The bars are getting crowded, storefronts are blasting music louder than the shop next door, and people from across the city, above and below, are shaking hands, drinking and gambling together. The smell of stir-fry and motor oil is in the air, and a lot of people are feeling lucky tonight, or at least they hope they will be. There's a famous gym here in Wall Market, home to the intense but friendly competition of squats. And through its door comes a young woman who just finished her training gig for the day. Jewel, why don't you describe yourself and tell us what you feel like doing tonight with your free time and paycheck?
Sure. Jewel stands at a staggering 5'2", is very small of frame, and probably the first thing that you would notice about Jewel is that she is rocking this like very short pink mullet. So it's got like, she's got the long in the back with like a very spiked up front. And she has these huge combat boots that almost look bigger than she is. Just these black combat boots that go all the way up to the knee. Everything else is sort of just like pastel colors, but these boots are black.
So what's a typical night for Jewel? You haven't been here too long, but you've been in Wall Market for a little while now. Mm-hmm. Like, this isn't where you're from, but certainly you've made yourself at home here. What does Jewel get into? What's the kind of activity you usually get up to at night in Wall Market? How old are you, by the way? I know it's rude to ask, but
Jewel is a young 22. She's just a baby.
Okay.
What's a young 22?
I picture her with like a very like youthful face. Like looking at her, you'd probably be like, "Oh, those cheeks. You're what, 16?" You know?
Yeah. Aerith is an old 22.
Yes. But I think the first thing Jewel would probably do is look around for some sort of food because she loves snacking, and as soon as work's over, would probably want to grab something maybe mobile that she could walk around with. Absolutely.
Just not too far from the gym itself, you have all these food carts lining up the street. The choice is yours. Like, you got your Korean barbecues, you got your pizzas, your burgers, your whatever. Through the crowd, as you wait for your to go, something catches your eye, or rather, someone catches your eye. It's a face you haven't seen in a while. A distant cousin, probably, or the spouse of a step sibling, or you know them from your family, but you've seen them in a few family meetings, but like a while ago, and you feel like you only noticed him because his behavior is kind of like, it stands out. He seems nervous and agitated, so you kind of just like pick him right out of the crowd. It feels like he's outwardly trying to remain unnoticed. Like he's really bad at this, and he's holding a small metal briefcase that he's holding close to his chest, kind of as if he was trying to hide its surface, and then he makes a left and dives deeper into the crowd.
I think, doing her best not to be noticed, she is gonna grab whatever on a stick and is going to stealthily follow this person that she recognizes.
All right, well, let's turn our heads to roll 20.
It's the
And
first roll. You want me to do a stealth?
this is a 21. This is a very good stealth check. You use the crowd to your advantage. Your boot are taking more space than you are, so you're not easily noticeable, and you're basically taking advantage of the hustle and bustle of the crowd that's starting to flow in, and so you keep a pretty good track on him, and you know that he hasn't seen you yet, and he makes his way through narrow and crowded streets and alleys. He seems lost for a moment, and then he takes a right that you know exactly where that alleyway leads, because at the end of that alleyway you hear the upbeat jazzy notes of the Honeybee Club that reverberates on the metal sheet walls of this street. And you see, even though it's just the start of the night, there's already a lineup with dozens of people just waiting to get in. You feel like the party's already started, but you see this acquaintance of yours just cut through the line and get greeted in by two shady looking dudes who kind of like give a bro nod to the doorman, who just steps aside and lets them all three in.
It's shady shit, man. I'm looking like some shady happenings. Jewel is going to finish her, what I've now decided was fried cheese on a stick, and and is going to walk up. How long is the line at the door?
There's about 20 people. It's hard to tell. Like, there's not a constant flow of people coming in. It really depends on, is the club at full capacity already? Is this a VIP? Like, do you have a status or anything? Like,
well, Jewel is going to go right up to the door and the bouncer and just sort of like try to peek around the bouncer, and is going to ask, so what's happening in there tonight?
he kind of looks you up and down. It's like, aren't you a little young to be walking up here?
Excuse me, and Jewel is going to pull out whatever equivalent of identification she may have, and is going to put it right in his face, like full arm, as close to his face as she could be, and she's going to say, I am of age, mister. That's
not the first time she does that, yeah. Well, he looks at it and like goes back and forth between the card and yourself. Okay, madam. Well, tonight we got a fully booked session. All our best performers are going to be on stage this evening, but as you can see, there's a lot of people who want to get in, so I'm going to have to ask you to step back and wait in line.
Jewel is going to step back, lean backwards, and look at the line, and then is going to slowly put her ID down and turn on the charms, and is going to sort of like with big doe eyes is just going to ask this bouncer, well, what would I need to do to get inside? I don't want to have to wait in this long line. You see, I just saw my friend come through here and I'm trying to catch up with him.
Persuasion, por favor.
Oh boy.
Well, that is a whopping 18 persuasion. He's gonna look back over his own shoulder. He's like, the gentleman that just came through?
And Jewel will nod with a big smile.
You know these are dangerous people.
And then with sort of like a shimmy of her shoulders, Jewel is just going to say, I'm not scared of anything.
He waves over at someone inside, and like another officially another greeter comes to see him, and they talk to in a very low voice to each other, like in each other's ear. He can't really hear what they're saying, but then the first guy comes back to you and goes, all right, my associate here will escort you. They will help you find their table, but we don't like to have any trouble here, so please mind your manners.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. You have been so sweet. And Jewel is just going to follow along this other bouncer person and blow the first bouncer a kiss on her way.
The first bouncer will kind of like tighten his lips, going like, something's bad's about to happen. And he'll go back to the lineup as his associate, who's fairly taller than the first one remains dead silent and just ushers you in and just keeps, you know how they point at you in a direction with an open hand and extend an arm? He'll do that to, like, at every door and every corridor. Meanwhile, inside the club, things are already going at full speed, even this early. In the main stage hall, all the patrons are already going wild as tonight's various performances are absolutely killing it. And not to mention that the kink rooms are at full capacity tonight, so there's like some overflow going into the main hall because like not everyone can get their kink on tonight. So the room is packed, and it's not unusual, but it's for this early in the night, it's a very good crowd. And sitting at the bar that's stage right side of the room, there's a man who stopped by to see a friend perform tonight, and that friend made sure that he would be drinking for free tonight. Artanis, what have you been drinking tonight, and how presentable would you say you are tonight? Are you here to relax? Are you here to party?
Artanis is here. I wouldn't say not to party. He's here to relax. He is wearing these like dark gray worker pants. He has a black collared shirt with long sleeves, but on top of that is a nondescript kind of Kevlar vest-ish type getup. And on top of all that is, of course, the standard like a PI from the 1950s trench coat, but in the same color gray, or as close as he can get to the pants that he's wearing. Pretty beefy man, not like the muscle-bound dudes from the gym next door or nearby. He's very wise about what he exercises and the type of physique that he has to keep. Some salt and pepper beard going on, not too heavy, pretty trimmed. Swept hair going back, kind of olive-ish skin, not too dark. He has seen some sunlight. He was raised in a different part than the slums here. There's a holster inside of his coat, which is clearly visible, that has some sort of autoloader pistol there just resting. He would be drinking at this point. Maybe he's 2 drinks in, waiting for the show to start. He's drinking nondescript brown liquor. Whatever is the last. That's not top shelf, but it's not bottom shelf because he knows he's not paying for it, so it's mid shelf. He's not going to be greedy.
Honorable. And as you wait from where you are at the bar, you have a clear view of the whole room when the lights turn on to like over the audience, and you can notice that there is an area off to the center on the other side of the room that isn't caught by that light. It kind of stays dimly lit somewhat. Why don't you roll me a perception check? Just to get some dice rolling. With a 12, you notice a honey girl entering the room, and she is seating three people to that very table that you were noticing. This very discreet corner table. And so the first 2 more like punk-looking dudes sit down at one end of the table, and this just like profusely sweating man sits across from them with a metal suitcase. The honey girl at the bar offers you another drink.
Artanis looks at the cup. It's still filled. He'll put his hand out. No, not quite yet, darling. Thanks. And he'll finish it. And he'll look at her. Come back in about 2 minutes.
As you say this, the lights are going to turn off, and a single spotlight follows the MC that enters on stage. He's wearing like pretty much the same getup as the Honey Boys, some sort of like tux, but it's all gold. His top hat is gold, and he's using one of those The Price is Right long microphones. And he'll gesture to the crowd, and he'll say, "Oh, honeys, the night is only starting, so get these hand clapping for the legend, the immortal, the one and only Ruby Weapon." And so, what does the audience see, Ruby Weapon?
This is like Ruby Weapon's night. She doesn't always perform this floor show, but like there's one night a week where she does this floor show, and it's a huge production. It's a big lip sync. So the first thing that they say is the lights go out, and like lights come on, and it's like this purple sort of like lavender light, and there's all these like purple materia, like big glass orb, or they're like big glass orb to look like materia to refract the light and everything. And then coming up out of the floor with fog rolling into the audience, you see this incredibly tall drag queen like probably 6 foot and then like 8 foot in heels, like that tall that like drag queens are when they're like legendarily enormous, and like this like enormous Marie Antoinette dress that's like purple and lavender and adorned with like purple materia looking things and glitter. And she's got this like huge like Marie Antoinette wig, you know, towering up several feet. And the song begins to play. It's a popular song that was popular maybe a couple decades ago, but this is like a house mix of it. The song is Materia Girl, and there are a bunch of backup dancers that like start coming in and doing the dance. And as the song comes on, like as the song raises to a climax, then all the lighting changes and it's like boom, and everything is emerald green. There's like an explosion of glitter and pyrotechnics that come out, and the dress actually opens up and she steps out of the dress into a costume change, like flowing gown of green with like green materia all over it, has taken off the wig. It's a more of a flowing green wig, and just like voguing around the stage, now fully like incorporated with the dancers with these huge fans. By my side, I wanna take. And suddenly like actual magic is being incorporated into this show, and like wind is swirling up and sort of like catching the glitter and like making these cyclones on the stage.
At this moment, Jewel, the usher opens the door for you and you step inside the main hall, and this is what you see. This part of the act that Ruby is performing.
Nice.
And so with the light changes, the whole audience is illuminated with the beats of the music. And so you kind of see not a strobe effect, but like a delayed strobe effect where like you get a good 3 seconds of light and then 3 seconds of darkness, 3 seconds of light again. And the usher points in a direction to the table where the three men are sitting. And you notice with that change of light, there aren't 3 men there. There are 5 people sitting at that table. You see the three guys you were following, and they are sitting across, like in the middle of all of them, are a honey boy, one of the hosts, generally the accompany VIP people, and sitting on top of him is a elegant woman, very finely dressed. She's wearing a black tuxedo, black suit with a black tie, white shirt. She's a black woman, and my lack of imagination is gonna betray me right now, because it's impossible that she's not played by Janelle Monáe. Like she fits the role perfectly. So picture that.
Casting, I like it.
Yes, but she is sitting on that honey boy who's not moving too much, and the other 3 dudes, they look completely drunk, completely smashed, but something is off. They look like more than drunk. They look nauseated. And the briefcase is now sitting at the end of the table, opened between the hands of that woman.
So you mean that the suitcase is open and the glamorous woman is looking at looking inside it right now?
Yes.
Okay.
The timing of it happens with the change of like color lighting that Ian's going to describe.
Ruby Weapon disappears in this like cyclone of glitter and wind magic with her fans, like using them, and all the dancers strike a pose, and she's gone off the stage. The stage goes a little bit dark, and then at the back of the house, there's a golden spotlight. Now she has appeared, walking down the aisle, through the audience, through the tables, towards the stage, now in a completely different outfit, like a golden bodysuit, and like now the wig is like way short, like a short yellow kind of wig. She is on the back of an actual chocobo that is walking through the aisle as she is finishing up the lip sync, as the song is climaxing. It takes her to the lip of the stage again, and she steps back on as all the dancers reconfigure. There's like yellow materia now everywhere, and like gold glitter shooting out. Pyrotechnics are blowing everywhere.
I'm gonna say because the lights follow you through the crowd during this bit, and the like everything's the brightest it's been. Artanis, at this point, your eye catches this scene again. You see the 5 people over there. But Jewel, if you wanted to do anything while Ruby's act is going, you may very well.
Then I think Jewel is going to, while looking at this group of 5 people, to sort of see what they're up to and maybe walking around the audience area while taking in the show. She's looking for like a better vantage point, I suppose, where she can watch these people from afar and not be noticed.
Your family member, the one that's opposite to the other 2 punks, he just falls like head first into the table, crashes in his drink, and the lady closes the briefcase and subtly but visibly grabs one of the 2 punks by the collar and brings him closer to her face, and she whispers something in his ear. And both of those punks are also, as I described, like nauseated. Like they're out of it. They're like Mortal Kombat finish him.
Jewel's gonna walk over as soon as this guy's face hits the table. How's everything going over here, folks? Everything okay?
So the first thing you'll notice for sure is that not everything's okay. Roll a medicine check.
16.
You can clearly tell that these guys are not drunk at all. In fact, they seem to have been poisoned. They seem nauseated. They seem very ill. It's kind of like this flashy, overtly damaging sort of poison that you've seen once or twice as you fought other people who use materia. The Turk woman will look at Jewel, and she'll kind of like raise an eyebrow looking at you. Can't you see this is a private party?
These men have been poisoned. What did you do? And is going to like begin to tend to these gentlemen.
She's gonna put her hand like to stop you. Just gonna raise her hand and say, "If I were you, I wouldn't want to get involved."
Jewel is going to give an evil sort of eye over at this woman, and is going to begin to grab Tommy and sort of like throw his arm over her and carry him out as if like you would with a drunk friend, or try to take him away from this table, and is just going to say, "I don't care why you're here, but don't mess with Tommy."
Artie, from where you stand, your cop eyes definitely see this scene.
Can I, with my background being former Shinra security, can I run a history check and see if I know if this person's official or street gang or what the hell they are?
Absolutely, sir. With that 18, you notice that a young 22-looking girl approaching the table, and this kind of catches your eye because you notice that the woman sitting at that table in the shadowy corner is dressed as a Turk. She is doing undercover, dark, shady stuff for Shinra.
Or am I in relation to the little booth?
You're like at the other side of the room, so you'd have to cross the whole floor.
Artanis is gonna, if there's anything left in his cup, his drink, I think I had like a little bit of brown liquor left in the cup. He's gonna finish it, put it down very quietly, or okay, very quickly, sorry. And then he's gonna move from the bar towards the booth.
So I can picture the scene where like you kind of like you walk as the blasts of light coming from the stage goes. We can see like your darkened silhouette walk across Ruby performing in the back, and you just like, excuse me, and you duck and you move around, and you get there about at the time where the Turk woman will look at Jewel. She is going to rapidly stand up, and in a flash, she'll just hop over that table and block your way. And you'll see that the honey boy she was sitting with, basically her arm was around him the whole time. Now you can see that in her arm, she's holding a tonfa, like one of those police batons that you hold on the side, kind of like for poking in the gut kind of thing. And it's lined with materia. And she will basically like put it across your face, kind of. She'll get right up in your grill. It's just so that people don't necessarily notice that she's holding it. And she reaches for the briefcase and flips it towards you and says, "I came here to repossess something that belongs to us." She'll open the briefcase, and it's got the foam casing, and it's empty. And this rat tried to play a bigger game than he was able to. She's gonna close it again and say, "I want to find my stuff. So you're gonna ask your friend here where he hid it."
Jewel is going to look over at Tommy, seeing that he probably ain't doing too good, and is going to look over at this woman. "I can get you your stuff, but he's going to die."
The clock is ticking. I would say, RT, at this point, you get there.
So yeah, Artanis stops and he realizes what this is, and then he sees, I guess, Jewel standing, because I'm like thinking in my head, "Oh, this girl's in trouble. This little kid who's in the bar somehow." So I'm gonna take option B and move towards the youngster and be like, now, no need to cause a ruckus here. Everyone's just going about their business. And I'll look to the Turk and I'll kind of nod. He kind of like pulls out his old identification, his old badge or whatever, like the some sort of identification card or wallet that's in card that's in his wallet. He's gonna kind of like flip it open really quickly, and his hands are visibly up, so like, you know, he's like, "Hey, I'm no threat. I'm not here to start any trouble."
Well, she's gonna raise an eyebrow at you and kind of cock her head. "It's a habit for people in the slums to always get involved in my shit." Artanis, why don't you give me a medicine check?
Okay. 15.
These 3 guys have been poisoned through the magic of poison.
Oh.
Through bio.
Bio 1.
So you know that their life force is slowly chipping away.
Artanis immediately kind of puts his hand in his coat, and he looks at this Turk and says, No. I'm very certain that's against the rules. You wouldn't happen to have any antidotes, would you?
Why would I bring antidote here? I'm fine. I'm feeling very, very healthy. She's gonna narrow her eyes, and she'll flip the crate back over to you. You can clearly see it has the Shinra logo on it. I said crate, but I mean the briefcase. "This piece of shit owes me my goods. So if you know this guy, you're gonna help him find me what was inside there. Or else accidents might happen. I don't know to who. Maybe to the Honeybee Club. Who knows? Who knows what lucks bring?"
Artanis hears this and he kind of grumbles. "Doesn't seem like it should be some random person's problem to finish your work."
Well, it was the Stone family who started it. I might as well let the Stone family finish the business.
He'll look to Jewel. "Stone?"
Jewel is going to, as soon as the Stone name comes up, is going to look down at the ground.
"Get this guy talking and find my stuff."
Artie will nod. Artanis will go through his pack very quickly, and like it's like a side. I'm gonna say it's like a side utility pocket of some kind. He'll pop open his utility satchel on his right side, look like kind of fumble through some items, and then find a vial of shiny green liquid, and pop it open, and like lift his head up. I'm assuming it's kind of slouched, and he's gonna pour it down his throat. "There you go."
And Jewel is going to look over at Artanis and just say, "Thank you. I'm Jewel."
"Hey, Artie." And he's gonna just continually pour it down. "There's a good boy."
It takes a moment for it to take effect, and the Turk's gonna roll her eyes, kind of like shakes her head at you two introducing each other to each other. And Tommy will start I'll drool and start coughing up a bit, and like, oh. "Jewel? What are you doing here?"
And Jewel, though small, is going to take a very firm stance and look down at this guy and just say, "What are you doing here? What have you gotten yourself into this time?"
And he looks to his right to the Turk, and his eyes go wide. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. This is not what you think."
Yeah, sure, Tommy. Frickin' dummy.
The Turk will just reach for Tommy's collar, and she'll tell him very sternly, "You have 15 seconds to tell your friends where you hid my stuff. Otherwise, you're dead, they're dead." And Tommy panics, and you can see tears starting to well up in his eyes. He looks back at Jewel and at Artie. Meanwhile, the music's at its loudest. The Ruby's act is just about to finish, and so you can barely hear each other. Tommy tries to like speak over the music, but he's still like coughing phlegm, and like his ears are like oozing with a bit of green, and he's just going, "All right, fine. I didn't find anything. I just found an empty suitcase. Everybody heard about what happened with the Shinra convoy in Sector 3. All the junkers went for it. I thought that would be my big break. Jewel, your dad told me to go, and he said, you know, Tommy, if you give me something good, I can sell it. That could be your big break. So I thought it was gonna be my big break. When I got there was this girl who just was on top of one of those monsters. She just took whatever was in that briefcase and like tossed the briefcase my way, and she just left. I thought maybe if we could try to sell it to Corneo or something. As soon as he heard what the serial number on the box, he offered double what we asked for. I just had to go for it. I'm gonna be double murdered, maybe triple if your dad finds out. So you gotta help me out, Jewel."
I'm gonna be triple murdered.
Triple murdered.
So Jewel, again crossing her arms, is just going to take this in. "So let me get this straight. You found an empty box?"
Yeah.
And you decided that it was a good idea to take this box because it must be worth something?
I goofed up. I goofed up so bad.
You done goofed, Tommy. You done goofed good. And then sort of pacing back and forth, Jewel's gonna ask, "So what about the person who threw the box out? They must have taken what was inside of it, right? Who was this person?"
I don't know. It looked like a tiny girl. She just left off. I don't know where. Probably in Sector 3. But that place's dangerous as balls.
"Well, Tommy, as you know," and Jewel takes her coveted stance where she like does a little peace sign. "I'm not afraid of anything."
The Turk kind of like raises an eyebrow and smiles. "Well, now you have a destination." And she reaches for the briefcase. "Find me what was inside there. You have 24 hours. Make this quick. I'll find you here tomorrow. Don't make me wait." And then, Ruby Weapon, how does the show move on?
At the very end, there's like a huge chair that comes up out of the floor with like materia all over it. She walks up it. It's sort of like on a raised dais, and just as the music is climaxing, jumps off of it, bam, splits at the stage floor, and like everything explodes.
In my life to try to stop loving you.
I want to be in that good of a shape when I'm that old.
That's why she only does it once time.
And at this exact moment, all the lights go dark. The music stops. The crowd roars, and a wave of like cheers and claps and a standing ovation goes and takes the whole room by storm. And in that cacophony, the Turk will grab Tommy tighter, and will try to like get it out of either Artie or Jewel's hold and drag him along with her. As she says, "I'm going to need assurance. and she pulls him with her. Now you have 24 hours. And she tells the honey boy, you're coming with me too. All of us were gonna go to the after party, and I'll see all of you tomorrow. Bye, ta-ta. And she takes off, unless you do anything. And about at that time, the Ruby Weapons Act comes to an end, and all the lights come back on, and the Turk is gone.
Artie looks at Jewel. That your boyfriend or something?
No, that's my idiot frickin' cousin. He's always getting into trouble, and I'm always having to rescue him.
I see.
Well, Artanis, ever been to Sector 3?
Sector 3 is not an easy place to get to. I can help you out.
Really? I mean, you've helped a lot already. I don't think he'd be standing without you.
Well, I mean, it's kind of my career choice at the moment. Getting people from sector to sector is, I wouldn't say it's a passion, but it's something I'm good at. But I think 2 of us alone won't be able to do it in the time that we need. 24 hours is a short amount of time. And he's going to look to the stage where Ruby is dancing. Like, I guess the show's ended and Ruby's just finishing doing the splits as Ian has indicated. Wait here for a second. And he points to the bar where he was at earlier. And he's going to move. I guess if the show's almost over, he's going to wait. He's going to try and get backstage, side stage, if possible.
Yeah. Well, Ruby's act is over, so if Ruby sees you trying to go backstage, you'll get backstage for sure.
Okay. Yeah, then he'll thank the bouncer as he walks in backstage. And goes to Ruby. I assume she's sitting at one of those fancy vanity seats.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like the one that's got all the light bulbs in it.
And you have to weave your way through the dress rooms for all the honey boys and girls. So it is, it's not where you should be necessarily. And there's a lot of people. There's a lot of performers, so there's a lot of, just healthy commotion going on.
I bet, yeah. Artie's gonna be weaving through people. Excuse me, sorry, pardon me, sorry ma'am, sorry sir, excuse me. Moving past them, and he'll get to Ruby. He's gonna say, well, that was one hell of a show.
Artie, hey, you saw it. Oh, that's great. Did you get some drinks? Did you get drinks?
Oh, he puts his hand up, of course, yeah, I mean, I've had a few already, but that's not the important stuff we need to discuss. And he's gonna look around. You got any vacation time coming up?
This was my show. I don't have to do another one again for another week, so yeah, I can make time, of course. Are you taking me somewhere special?
Well, I'd love to do that, but this is more of a job kind of deal.
So, working vacation. Do I need to bring any special shoes?
He looks at what she's wearing now. How durable are those?
And so, yeah, I guess I should give a description of Ruby real quick. Ruby, turns to Artie, and, it's a very tall drag queen who is now, out of the costumes that she was in and is now in some sort of more of a dressing gown, like a kimono, but she does have an incredible long bright red hair, and you can see now too that with the bright lights of the makeup, Ruby is an older drag queen as well. You can see lines, the smile lines and the crow's feet, and yeah, the shoes that she's got on are red heels.
I suggest you bring those fans I know you like so much.
Oh, it's gonna be that kind of work.
Yeah, I might have agreed to help some youngster out with the family issues they are currently having. That's just something about family that I can't help myself. Someone in need is, it's a good cause. And he's gonna kind of look away as he's saying this out into the crowd of performers who are backstage, and then look back to Ruby.
That's always been your problem, Artie. You got too big of a heart.
Yeah, And he kind of has this like half smile. She's outside by the bar. And he stops for a second. Oh, I hope she's old enough to drink.
Well, let's go meet her. Let me put on my face real quick. Like scrooches up her robe and like just like touches the makeup up on her face and like puts a headband on, and she's like stands up. Okay, I'm ready.
Also, I want it to be noted that Ruby is significantly taller than Artanis.
yeah.
Without the heels, and with the heels, it's even more, I want to say.
Yeah, she's very tall. Well, let's go meet her.
He nods, and I think we go outside, back to the bar.
Yeah. While you were waiting, Jewel, you've been ID'd twice. Just want to... Side note. Just want to mention that.
Each time, Jewel getting a little more aggressive.
So I imagine we find her, like we come out there and like Ruby is like, as she's like walking through the club, she's like queen beeing with people and like kissing them on the cheek, like the fake kiss, and then she's like following Artie over to Jewel. Is this your friend?
Yes, this is the one I was telling you about. Jewel, this is my good friend, Ruby. Longtime pal.
Enchanté. I'm Ruby Weapon. They call me Ruby because of the hair, and Weapon because I come to slay. And I know what you're thinking. The carpet does match the drapes. Pleasure to meet you. And she like extends her hand out.
Oh my god.
Jewel is going to look up at Ruby, who is considerably taller than Jewel if she's taller than Artanis. Definitely taller than Jewel. And is going to give a big smile and grab Ruby's hand, give it a little kiss, and say, "Nice to meet you. I'm Jewel, and I love to meet another person who sparkles."
Oh my gosh, she is effervescent. Artie, you didn't say that she was so darling. My goodness, and polite. You look very young, like a young 22, I would say. Jewel? Now, is it just Jewel? Like, just Jewel?
For now, I'm trying it out, and she is going to quickly pivot away from that conversation.
Anyway, Artie says you have something going on, some family issues or something like that. What's going on?
Yeah, and Jewel is going to walk over to this empty case. We have to go and find this thing that I don't even know what it is we're looking for, and is going to sort of gesture towards this empty suitcase.
It does look to be a piece of equipment, like a military piece of equipment of some sort. Not really, not big. Something that, could fit around your arm, probably.
How big? That's the question I'm always asking.
About forearm sized.
Oh, hello. I've got a question too. Are there like Corneo people around at this table?
That's a good question. Not that Ruby would know, but she does notice that at one of the tables you have like 6 staff members going over, putting like two dudes on stretchers and like taking them out of the room. As there's a bit of commotion over there, but you have enough like honey girls telling people it's gonna be okay, everything's under control, it's just a medical emergency, please keep buying drinks.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Somebody got poisoned. MBD.
It's not the first time someone leaves the honeybee club on a stretcher.
You know what? That's probably very true. Yeah, okay. Oh, I bet they're having a good night. That's what Ruby says. Ooh. So we're looking at this briefcase. It looks like it could be some kind of like military grade thing. I look at Artie. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
He just looks back at Ruby. Beats me. It looks official though. Definitely something worth more than my salary back when I worked. And he's gonna look to Jewel. That woman that you were talking to, air quotes, talking. You know she was a Turk, right?
Jewel is still sort of looking at this suitcase and is going to look over at Artanis. Yeah, what do you think I am, dumb?
Okay, if you're gonna go to Sector 3, you're gonna need some backup.
It's been a long time since I've been to Sector 3.
And with a very good reason. I'm just gonna explain what Sector 3 is, just so Artanis, actually, you know what the danger is over there. But about 15 years ago, about half of the sector has been closed off. In the slums, it's been fenced off because the upper plate above, there's been a lot of faulty equipment, faulty Mako storage and pipes that's been leaking down there over time, and the whole place has become somewhat irradiated with Mako, with used industrial Mako. So yeah, most of that place has been sealed off. There are slums, there are like shops and everything, and people live there, but much closer to the gates than in any of the other slums. Another thing that Artanis, is that at this late at night, the gates are closed in between the sectors. It could be tricky to get in between sectors without access, or without pulling some massive favors, or finding another way.
Well, Mr. DM, that's my job now. Artanis will bring this up to the group. That Turk, she definitely mentioned 24 hours. Leaving tonight would be ill-advised.
Yeah, I just had a show, and I'm not gonna lie, I felt that death drop all the way through my pads.
I was gonna say that one looked a little more intense than last week's.
Yeah, well, it's nothing that a few vodka martinis can't fix.
I got a plan. It involves the train, and it involves us getting up a little earlier than you're used to. You know, like when the sun's just barely rising.
Baby, I don't do day drag, all right?
Well, this is gonna be a day trip. So I'm gonna need you to hit the coffee a little harder than you would these bottles over here.
Jewel, sweetie, whatever this is, whatever we're doing for you, it better be worth it. And she grabs a drink off the table, 2 drinks off the table, and just whoop, downs them real quick.
And so in a cacophony of music and the crowd cheering and glass clinking, we leave the three of you off in this crowded hall as the neon lights of Wall Market keep shining. A fast forward effect where the lights start flickering and shutting down one by one, and you start seeing the artificial lighting of the morning starting to kick in. The streets become more and more empty, and the first trains of the morning start coming in. You've prepared, you've gathered your equipment, you did some shopping before leaving into what kind of situation you're leaving into. So 3 train tickets, you'll know that it's gonna cost you, it's gonna reduce your wealth score by 1. If you were planning to buy anything else, your wealth score is on your character sheet. And you can...
Is there a heal materia or anything like that?
Yes, let's go to the shop. And that shop. You got your material vendor who's leaning on his big pillow on his side, going like, "Hey man, how can I help you, man?" So I'll simplify the shopping segment, but all around town, what you could buy here in Wall Market is potions, Phoenix Downs, antidotes, ether, and then fire materia, ice materia, cure materia, and heal materia. That's what's available and affordable.
Ruby comes to the materia shop in the morning to go on this journey, but it's way too early. And when you work the night shift and you work clubs, you're up to 4, and then I imagine Artie likes to get a head start, a early start. So she's got big glasses, big sparkly red glasses, and one of those deli coffee cups, and she's going I just need a heal materia because I feel like shit, and I'm gonna need something to pick me up. I've got a long journey ahead. You got something for that?
Yeah, I could hook you up with whatever you want. I got heal, I got restore. What you're looking for? You're looking for a little picker upper, or something that'll cure the poison right out?
Just something that'll get this headache out. You know what I mean? And does it go in the mouth or does it go in the butt?
I don't remember. Did we make those jokes on air or before the show?
I don't remember.
I think they were on there. I think they were the before. They were the before.
But just so I'm clear, you're looking for the cure spell?
Cure.
Or you're looking
That's
for
what I'm looking for.
poison.
Cure. I'm looking for cure.
Okay. Yeah, I can hook you up. I got something for you. It'll be 16 wealth.
These are tips. These are all my tips.
It's 10 above your current wealth, so your score would just lower to 5 if you buy that.
Okay, got it. Okay, yeah, I will do that. I'll get like a couple of potions and a phoenix down.
Yeah, lower your score to 4, and you're all set. You got all the things you said.
Okay, phoenix down, couple of potions, and then she throws up in the alley behind.
You all reconvene in the morning after you had your coffees, after you've been sick, after you've done everything you're ready to do. The steam Mako engines on the trains can be heard far in the distance as you make your way to the train station. People start going to work on the upper plates and vice versa. People start coming back from the upper plates for whatever reason. But yeah, this different kind of life in Wall Market is like the day and night are just two polar opposites, and like this breath of like new life is like you can feel it as just new faces come in every morning, and you make your way across the platform, and you approach the train, and you can board it immediately if you so wish.
I give everyone their tickets. Now, these were expensive. Please don't lose them. And he's gonna hand them out.
Thank you, Artie. I hand you a coffee.
Thank you.
Here's your coffee, Jewel.
Thank you.
This one's just alcohol.
Yeah.
No, but then this is
Oh,
yours.
that's mine. Oh, yeah, sorry. I just switched coffees with it. Little hair of the dog. That's a Ruby weapon secret. Because I am out here in day drag, and this is just awful.
And those glasses aren't doing you any favors.
You don't gotta sugarcoat it, but you could. A little bit. Thanks, Artie.
I think you look lovely, Ruby.
Thank you. Polite as always. Oh my god. Listen to her. You should be taking lessons. Are you writing this down, Artie?
No. He just shakes his head and shakes his nose.
The iconic first steam push that the train does as the doors close and everything's set to go. The conductor yells, "Is trademark all aboard," from the front. And the train starts moving as you keep your coffees from spilling, and a voice on the radio comes in.
Thank you for boarding the Shinra Train Company. Our final destination today is going to be the Sector 6 train station, the international station. Please keep in mind that the Sector 3 platform is closed today due to Shinra troops' presence. Thank you for your cooperation.
I like this conductor. I think he has a great voice.
Soothing.
It's his first day.
You don't see many conductors like this anymore. Wow, it's lovely.
Boo-doo-doo.
Now approaching Sector 4 platform, the Sector 4 station.
All right, kids, this is where we get off.
Sorry.
No, that's good. Keep it going.
Please remember to take all your bags with you, as there are no lost items area within the Shinra complexes. It's ours if you lose it.
Yep, that sounds about right. All right, this is our stop, boys and girls.
Ruby's just like...
Jewel will hop right out of this train.
As you all step out of the train, you hear the buzzing of helicopters. Partly here in Sector 4, but you can hear there's a strong presence over the wall into Sector 3. You can feel like the Shinra military. There's a few more guards here in Sector 4 than there is usual. There always is. There always are patrols in the slums here. But you notice like there's a heightened presence.
And that's where we're going, huh? Sort of looking at all these helicopters and craziness across the wall.
Yeah, we'd be heading right into the hornet's nest. It looks like. We should be very careful. Move quickly. Stay close. And then I would look for at least walk towards the area that's in between 4 and 3, where I know that there's like the least monitored piles of junk that lead from one to the other.
You're gonna have to go a roundabout way for this for sure, because the gate itself is kind of like, it's closer to the train station than it is to the middle. That's where most of the checkpoints. There's you can see some Shinra trucks going in and out of the area, but the gates always close behind them, and people like passerby seem to be stopped and interrogated. As they, like, anyone who didn't know about this, that like just want to go to Sector 3, they seem to be like questioned and stopped and turned around. So if you want to avoid this, you'd probably have to go like a long way around that, or you could try to cut through and like talk your way around it. But now,
no, my plan. Sorry, go ahead, sorry.
But yeah, going around means like you're gonna have to step on junk, and like you're gonna have to move old jet engines around to get through.
Yeah, that's my plan, was for us to go around and find the seamless crossing over like piles of junk and tubes and things that, you know, pretty much hit X to jump and then jump again. Okay, climb this rope. Yeah, like I knew in my head that that's what I was going to take them.
Is Ruby dressed appropriately for this sort of like activity?
Not at all. No.
You got your heels on?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have Ruby roll an acrobatics check. Not to see if you make your way through, because you do, just to see if you damage what you're wearing in the process.
Oh god. Oh hey.
Whoa.
Hello.
Yeah, there you go. That's a solid 20.
Dirty 20.
No, yeah, you were born for these heels, so
Ruby's flexible.
these heels were made for heaps of junk.
I've done worse stuff in these heels.
Artanis leading the way around, walking around these piles and mountains of garbage. From where you are now, you're kind of elevated, and you start to see, not above the walls, but you can clearly see what peaks above, like from beyond the walls on every side. You see Corneo's tower way back in the distance. You see you start seeing like the pillars that hold the plates together. You see the central train spiral. You have a really good vantage point. It's kind of one of those rare sights you get to have in the slums. All while just standing in piles of refuse, tetanus waiting to happen.
Yeah. Artanis just takes a deep breath in. Yeah. Smells like grade A junk. And he looks around and kind of waits for the rest of the party to catch up, as he's kind of the trailblazer and moving on top of some of the higher piles of garbage.
Why don't you roll a perception check for me, Artanis?
You got it. 15.
Okay, just before you walk one step more, you notice that one of the like metal plates that you were gonna put your weight on is loose, and you catch yourself because you see movement from under it. You see slithering from under it, and you just avoided putting your foot down a nest of native to Sector 4 flying snakes, as 5 winged, scaly, serpentine shapes explode out of piles of junk and swarm around you 3. And we're gonna do a Final Fantasy combat. So let's roll for initiative. As you step your foot back, Artanis, you instinctively put your hand on your gun, and you know what to do. It's your job. It's your turn.
Well, I'm gonna pull my gun out and say, "There's a snake under my boot." I'm gonna shoot this flying snake that's in front of me.
Yeah, your aim is true, and you manage to just instantly take a shot at this one snake that was coming right at you. And this snake just falls, like rockets down to the ground, dead. You killed a snake. Congratulations, you killed a snake.
Yeah.
You just shot a snake. Wow. Big man.
If I can, I'll move close to Ruby, as close as I can to Ruby.
I'd say roll an acrobatics for me to move at your full speed, because the ground is very uneven. yeah, with a 12, you manage to like hold your footing. You don't like, because it's awkward to walk on this like landfill basically. But yeah, you make it to Ruby's side as a snake comes right for Ruby. This serpentine shape just flies for you and goes for a bite. I rolled a 25. You are going to get 1 piercing damage plus, oh Jesus, 10 poison damage.
Oh, oof.
For a total of 11 damage.
Bitch.
You are not poisoned, however, it's just the classic D&D damage type. Jewel, you're a bit further back and you kind of see this all happen at once.
Jewel is going to walk up to one of these snakes and attack it. It's basically going to try to like stomp on it on the ground, aggressively kicking it in its little snake face.
Okay, 10 plus 6, 16. That will hit. It is doing very poorly, but it is not quite dead. Like, you crushed its body, but the vital organs and the wings are still working, and the head is still biting. Then another one's gonna fly by and go for Artanis. You killed its brother. I rolled a 21.
Oh my god.
Oh, rolling rocks tonight.
Yeah, so some good
gonna
rolls
hurt.
on those snakes. So you're gonna take 7 damage. So it comes in and it bites you on your gun arm. Not your gun arm like Barrett, but your gun holding arm.
Oh, I could have stopped the damage to protect Ruby, but I didn't do that. It's
Well,
okay.
maybe you can try now, because another snake comes in and tries to bite Ruby.
No.
How about that?
I'm going to use my reaction to redirect the attack at me.
Okay, I rolled an 11.
Miss.
It will miss. Well, you can describe how you protect Ruby.
So I get bit by one of the flying ones, and I kind of like bash it away, like ah. And I see one flying towards Ruby, and out of my peripheral vision, and I stick my arm, my non-gun arm, and try and clothesline this thing as it's flying towards her, and instead it stops mid-flight and just kind of flails like it was like it misjudged, like when a cat misjudges a jump. This thing misjudged its flight path, and so backs off a little bit, but it's still right in her face.
Wonderful. Ruby, the snake that you just stomped to near death, isn't taking it well, and it will try to retaliate and bite your foot, your ding-dang foot.
Ruby or Jewel?
I'm sorry, I meant Jewel. We got a crystal gems thing going on here. And, I might keep mistaking one for the other.
We do. Sorry.
I'm changing my name to Onyx.
Yeah, Onyx. Oh, hell yeah.
So I rolled a 23. Those big sharp fangs will manage to pierce through like the thinner side of the boot, and it'll reach your ankle. And even though if it's just like the end tip of the fangs, but the poison will just like burn your skin. 11 damage. As Artanis saves you from yet another bite, Ruby, you are now empowered to act.
I'm like bleeding out my neck as the snake like pull it off. But Artanis has done this like incredible move, shooting one and like clotheslining another. And Ruby will take out her fan and just like whip it. I do not need a weapon because I was born a weapon. And gonna like swing the fan around on this one that Artanis clotheslined and cast wind or arrow, I should say.
Yes.
Okay, DC 13.
I rolled a 13.
Oh, all right. Well,
It's half damage.
Oh, not too shabs.
17.
But half of that.
Half of that. But the wonderful thing is that as you cast wind, it'll like catch it right in the feathers and like it'll break the wings, the brittle bones of the wings. All the feathers are just gonna burst out, and this creature is going to be flung away and like it's gonna crash into the side of an old flipped over car, and it's just gonna splatter and die, as these things are weak to wind.
Woo!
Yeah.
I look at Artie and I like give a little kiss mouth, and I am gonna give you inspiration as a bonus action.
You can do that. Are you a bard?
I'm like a weird bard sorcerer.
Wow. So you're like, you got some bard, you got some mage.
And that would lead us to the first snake that bit, and it's its turn. So it'll fly by and it'll try to kill. Well, yeah, it'll try to kill Ruby.
That makes sense.
Oh no,
that tracks.
And like these things are swarming. Like they're not like taking a shot one at a time. Like they're not, the nature of turn-based. But these things are just like circling you, and this one will try to bite Ruby. 24.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It hits you for 8 damage this time. You are in a dire straits at the moment.
We've got, like, in the game, you start to see that, like, red vignette that sort of, like, comes over the screen when
your health
teammate.
is yellow now, I think, or something.
Yeah.
It is Artanis' turn.
Cool, because I'm gonna turn around and say, Ruby! And I'm gonna use my potion on Ruby. 7 HP, Ruby.
Right. Let me give
I'm
you
still
7.
in this fight.
So this is just Artanis turning around, Ruby, popping the potion, and then just like handing it over first, and then I would think probably Ruby pops it open and drinks it, but it's my action that's being used mechanically.
Yes, for potions we are going by Dungeons and Dragons rules, which is you drink it. You don't just toss something in the air and it affects someone 30 feet away.
Yeah. And then he'll turn his attention to the one that's in front of her, but like, he can't. I'd say mechanically I can't aim because I'm out of actions for the turn, but like story-wise, she can't aim because it's moving too rapidly. Like you mentioned, there's a whole swarm.
Right. This one died. So Jewel, now it is your turn.
I'm gonna do the same thing, however, because I use like my body as my weapon. I'm a martial artist. I get to pick a thing, right? They either have to succeed on a dexterity saving
That's
throw,
true,
a
you're
strength
right.
saving throw, or they're like paralyzed till the end
Yes.
of the round. I'm gonna kick the same one that I was kicking before,
That will hit.
and then let's see.
I can save you some reading though,
It's
because
dead, isn't it?
yeah.
Well,
But you can't decide how you fling it.
I want a real like Team Rocket style flinging across all of these junk piles where she's like got it on her foot and she just kicks it across this mass of trash.
And somewhere down the slums, some child receives a dead flying snake on the shoulder.
Random snake falling out of the sky.
Yeah, it's not uncommon. There's only 2 snakes left, and honestly, I can't keep track of which one is which. But neither can you 3 because they keep flying in circles, and this one just goes in for Ruby again.
Oh no.
They're like sharks, right? Snakes are like sharks. They smell the blood.
They're going for the tall.
You taste so sweet.
I'll burn my harm's way.
Okay, yeah. What is your AC, Alex?
17.
Oh, I rolled 19.
Well, that's fine. It hits me
hits
instead
you.
of Ruby. Yeah.
I will hit you for 10 damage.
Oh.
Ruby, your boy just took a shot for you again.
Oh boy, Artie.
This one he got bit.
I'm gonna do some more casting. I'm gonna cast a cure. That's 3d6 of heals. 18. Oh, I gotta think what this looks like. I think it's just it's just Mako like cure energy. It looks green. It looks refreshing. It might even smell a little bit like peppermint schnapps, and it makes you feel real good. You know what it is? Ruby like takes the fan and like blows it, and it flies like glitter off of it in a wave towards Artanis. And then she's gonna look over to Jewel and say, "Oh, work, bitch!" And Jamie, you have inspiration as she sees you stomping a snake to death.
Great, that takes us to Artanis.
Okay, I will take the shot, and I'll use my inspiration to add 1d6. It's to the attack roll, right? 25.
That hits? Yes, that super hits.
Yeah, that hits. 10.
Describe how you killed that snake.
Yeah!
After getting the fan blown on me, I'm like, whoa, oh, this feels good. And then I quickly turn around and fire my shot at it. It kind of hits it on one of the wings. Some of the feathers kind of fly out of it. You see a little bit of their blood squirt out, go through the other wing, so this thing can't really fly anymore. And it just falls on the ground, fluttering about on the ground like a butterfly that's been swatted. And it just...
There's one snake left, and it's not going down without a fight. It's got nothing left, no one to survive them. It's going for blood, and it's gonna go for Artanis this time, because you've done you've done terrible things to their people.
Yeah.
I rolled 22.
Yeah, that'll hit.
And you take 5 damage. So it's tired. It's been flying in circles for a while, and it grazes you, probably on the face as you try to duck. So it leaves a nice little badass scar.
Nice.
And that takes us to Jewel.
I'm gonna try to do it again, but I'm gonna use the same thing that you just did, Alex. So I'm gonna use the inspiration that Ruby gave me. So I'll roll the d20 first. Well,
Oof.
Oh, well, hell.
Instead, Jewel trips over some garbage and falls on her face.
Oh no!
She's got a face full of coffee grounds now.
I was gonna say, hopefully not requiring a tetanus shot.
Ruby, that would be you now.
Well, I'm gonna take this opportunity to try and heal us up again. I'm gonna go over to Jewel. Oh, sweetie, that's not a good look. And I'm gonna try and help her up and do some cure on her. Blow the glitter off the fan. There we go. That's 18.
Yeah, that will be beautiful. I think I'll take her back up to full.
And that'll be my turn.
Artanis, finish this.
Yeah, I'll take aim and shoot at this. It's the last one, right? A 10.
Dungeons and Dragons, why are you so anticlimactic?
No, this thing's gonna get another turn.
Now, Xavier, I do have one inspiration roll left. Could I give this to Alex as a bonus action? Could we retcon that a little bit?
I'll allow it. I'll allow that.
Okay, so 1d6.
Come on.
14.
Their AC is 14.
Yeah.
I'll leave you the honors of describing how you murder this animal.
So Artanis kills the one, sees Ruby healing Jewel, and then kind of nods. I'd say just for flavor's sake, he empties the clip out. This gun, I envision it opening like Outlaw Star, where it's the side cartridge, and the empty casing falls out. Fills him back up, whips it closed, and sees the last one coming at him. And for a second, his aim is off, and then he feels the cool whisper or whatever magic Ruby has emanated earlier flowing back on him, and fires it, getting this thing square in between the eyes. And the body collapses lifeless on the ground as there's smoke rising from his auto loader pistol, and he puts it back in his coat.
As the flutter of the wings stop completely, and you see the empty nest with some eggs in it.
Oh no!
And one of the eggs says, "Mama."
Oh no! Kill that one quick.
You'll notice one of the eggs is different from the others. There's a glint to it. In fact, it's blue, and it is not an egg. It seems to be an orb of materia.
I go over and pick it up.
Well, you know the deal. You're gonna have to, if you want to know what it is, it's when you're gonna take a rest,
Oh, right.
Oh,
Yeah.
because you need to attune your mind, your spirit, your soul to the voice of the planet, and commune with that orb.
Got it. Okay.
I mean, looking at our health, a short rest wouldn't be too bad, right?
I mean, it's either a short rest or a potion. I gotta do something.
Yeah, I'd say Artanis would guide the party off some of the junk heap, and then when there was nice stable flooring that wasn't junk, and he would assist them down, he would kind of look around. All right, I think this is a good spot to rest.
And you're in a pretty good spot too. You are far away from being seen. It's discreet, and you're close to a place where you can climb over the wall too. So now's a good time to spend some hit die and MP die as well for those who used magic. So I imagine, Artanis, you break out the first aid kit and you distribute some stuff for people who for yourself, people who use their hit die. Well, you patch them up, you make sure your crew is at full speed.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Ruby, I assume you spent some time to commune with the orb of materia you picked, and you let the words of the ancients kind of resonate in the back of your mind, and you know that this orb is an elemental orb.
Oh.
Now the problem C is that none of you have joined slots, so it is kind of useless at the moment.
It's not really my color.
Flashes.
Nice.
Artanis chuckles. Blue doesn't suit you.
Never has. I put it away for maybe later.
So as you all lick your wounds and you look up at the wall, you definitely hear the sounds of the helicopters on the other side at this point. You hear people shouting orders. You hear a lot of machinery going on. You hear some buzzing sounds, a lot of like metal scraping and like heavy objects being moved around, and some sirens in the back too. There's commotion for sure.
Artanis kind of like sizing up the wall and looking at it and hearing all this, just kind of mutters, "Well, that's unusual compared to when I normally bring people through. We best be on our guard. Something tells me a bullet's much worse than a snake.
Shinra bullets?
That's if we're lucky. Who knows what else they got on the other side? Could be Turks, could be soldier." And when he says that, he kind of like shudders a little bit, like he cannot imagine fighting the machinations of soldier, and it kind of it fills him with fear for sure. And it's very visible. He's not trying to hide it. It's like worry.
Well, we'll have to be quick then.
Jewel, honey, it is the morning and I am in heels. I am going as quick as I can. Also, I know I don't look it, but I'm a little bit older than you. But just by a little bit.
Man, every one of Ruby's lines is just like killer. You should play Ruby like in every game.
She transcends FFC. She transcends podcasts. Yeah. So what is the wall? How do we scale the wall? How do we scale the wall, Xavier?
Well, as you mentioned, like you find a place that's it's got like support beams, like kind of like built inside this place of the wall. Normally, it wouldn't be like there's no ladders to access it, but the piles of garbage you found reach high enough that you're able to like find footholds and handholds in the like poorly constructed concrete of the wall at the top of it. Like it's used, it's not well maintained, and it is difficult, but it's not impossible to climb and reach the top of the wall from here. So basically, you're all gonna have to do an athletics check to get up that wall, but you can help each other out, like you can for sure.
Athletics is not so good.
Oh, I'm actually pretty strong. Nice.
Oh,
Hey,
Jamie.
What I'm gonna say is, Jewel, you rolled a fantastic athletics check, so you could stay behind and help both of these bozos out and give them advantage on their rolls, and then you'd climb on your own at the end of this. So I'm gonna give both of you another shot, as basically Jewel is just like boosting you up.
Oh, okay. So it's like a bit of an upskirt and sorry, Jewel, a bit of a meaty tuck today. Oh, that's
Hey!
Oh, yay! Artanis is like, I don't usually need this kind of help, but I appreciate it.
There we go. I'll give it to you. But Jewel is the real hero of this game.
Yes.
Just pushing old people over a wall, you know.
As you peek over the wall, and as you move your upper body up that wall, you get that sight when you climb the wall market wall in the original game. When you see on the other side, it's this vast expanse of just it's a mixture of, you see the entirety of the plate above and the entirety of the ground under it. You see that it's not just the slum, it's not just like piled up like engines and construction materials and beams and like old cars and robot hands. It was built on the earth, on the ground. Like you see the landscape, you see how it used to be under it. You see like Midgar is built on the Badlands, so Sector 3 you can kind of grasp the topology of it. You see like the crevasses like in the ground, and you can clearly see the demarcation. The half, if not the like 3/4 of this sector has been fenced off by like 20-foot high metal fences that are plastered by huge signs from Shinra saying like keep out, no trespassing. And you can see a little ways away, because you're not at the gate, you see the patrols. You see 2 big Shinra trucks leaning on their sides, and you see these sweepers, these big metal robots just clearing the debris around them, like clearing new path in the junk. You see the helicopters. You see at least 5 of them over the entirety of the sector. They seem to be looking for something. From where you are, you're much closer to a quote-unquote village part of the slums that are built along the edges of the walls, because the fenced-off area is occupying most of it, but what's left for the people to live and to make a living here is these edges around the wall. And so the climbing down is not easier than the other side, but doesn't warrant rolling for it. Climbing's generally easier. I mean, climbing down's generally easier. I don't know. I don't do climbing. I don't do rock climbing. That's probably a lie. That's probably a very dangerous advice.
No, I'm sure you're right. Yeah. I believe you.
It's like stairs, right? Going down's easier.
Yeah.
My left knee hurts more when I go downstairs than when I go upstairs.
When we're at the top too, like when we see this vista and we like see the actual ground, I think for like a second, like Ruby will like take her glasses off, put them on her head, just sort of like look out and be like, wow, it's not often you see this view. You see this a lot, Artie?
I mean, from time to time, but normally I find, underground pipes or sewer ways. This time just happened to be the wall, so this is a rarity for me as well.
No, I've never seen anything like this. And Jewel's gonna sort of like look across the landscape of everything.
We spend so much time behind these walls, and then you come up here and you see all this. It's weird to think that there's something this big, bigger than the plates, bigger than Shinra. This whole thing. You forget sometimes, One second, and then she vomits.
I knew you were going somewhere.
And then we climb down. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Respect the Crit, Memories of Midgar. Please consider supporting us by giving us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. It's easy, free, and really helps to let other people know about the show. And we'd love to read your feedback. For more information about the show, visit @RespectTheCrit on Twitter and Instagram. Artanis is played by Alex Herrera, who you can find on Twitter @AEHerrera or on his Twitch channel, WadeWolf10. Jewel is played by Jamie Lee-Bonés, who you can find on Instagram @jamielee.bones. Ruby Weapon is played by me, your host, Ian Duncan, and you can find me @idunks on Twitter and Instagram. Our guest GM for this game is Xavier Trudeau-Deschênes, who can be found @XavierTD. That's XAVIERTD. The original music in this episode is provided with license or permission by a variety of talented artists, whose information and credits can be found in the show notes. Please support them by visiting their platforms to check out more of their work, and tell them how much you love their music. And remember, whatever the system, whether it's a miss or a hit, you always gotta respect the crit. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in the live stream.
Just like in D&D, you need to attune to your new materia.
And the tuning happens during long rest or short rest?
Well, short rest or long rest.
Okay, and does it go in the mouth or the rear?
You choose.
Yeah, if you have the slots for it, yeah, if your slots are open.
Excellent.
Are they linked?